All right, guys, Levi Trumbull reporting in the City of Frederick. Today, I am joined by Pugh. Now, he's got an interesting story here. You guys know my recent run-in with the Frederick City Police Department, but with that came a lot of feedback, and one feedback in particular was from this young man right here, Pugh, who said that he was actually arrested improperly based on a false accusation that he was driving under the influence. So he's going to tell us about that. He says that he was arrested for DUI, he was charged for DUI, and he should not have been. He was sober, but yet he was arrested nonetheless by the Frederick City Police Department. He thinks it is an unlawful arrest, and we're going to talk to him about it right now. So, Jay, thank you very much for being here. So my first question is why did you want to do this interview today? Because a lot of people, when they find themselves in a situation like this, they don't really want to talk about it. They more or less want to just keep it to themselves. Why did you think that this was important to come out and talk about on the record?
I'm not ashamed of the charges because I'm innocent, but I'm pretty much hopeless at this point. I'm a young guy, work at Sheets. I don't really,
Sure.
I'm not top tier going to college or nothing, so
sure.
I'm really just grabbing at every possible.
You're the backbone. Well, you're the backbone of this country. That's the backbone of this country. The everyday American. No, God bless what you do, man. God bless you for that. Let's take the incident in chronological order.
Okay. So,
roughly what date did this happen?
I was arrested and charged on the 29th of December last year. 2023. 2023.
So about 3 days after they pulled me over.
About, yeah. Right.
Wow. Yeah, about the same time. 3 days later. Isn't that something? Just 3 days later, this happens to this young man. 3 days prior, they pulled me over. I mean, it's unbelievable. So December 29th, 2023, they pulled you over. What was your cause for going out on December 29th? What time was this roughly? Let's start with that. You know what time roughly?
Well, I had left...
Morning or not?
I had left the house in the morning.
So it was morning. So the morning of the 29th, where were you headed to?
I live in an apartment with, I don't got a washer in my house. So I'll be going to my mom's house to do my laundry. And she got a long washer, so I'll be sitting over there maybe 2 or 3 hours. So I was just gonna go spend the day, do my laundry over there.
So you were headed to your mother's?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And that's where I spent the day. I spent time there till I had the Ring doorbells to show when I left, but I think it was around 6 p.m. I had left there, and from that 10 minutes later was when that happened.
So you were headed to your mother's, and you got pulled over by Frederick City Police Department. Do you know where they roughly pulled you over?
16th and Dogwood. So 2 minutes I can see my.
I know where that is. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you're not from Frederick, you might not know where that is. But I know the location you're talking about. Okay, so they pulled you over, presumably. Do you know which police officer it was? Who said it was a female in the pre-interview?
Yeah. It's Officer Sarah Strayer. That's number 572.
Okay, so Officer Sarah Strayer pulls you over. I presume she comes over, she knocks on your glass, or did you already have the windows down?
I rolled the driver's side window down, but she came to the passenger, so I rolled the passenger window down and communicated.
She came to the passenger side window?
I guess officer safety. They come to the passenger side and
I guess so. There was just one officer at this time, right? Initially.
Yes, sir.
So she comes to the passenger side, then she walks around to the driver's side?
After she had returned to her car, she didn't come to the driver's side until she had asked me to step out of the vehicle. So
wait, you had the driver's side window down. What about the passenger side window?
I was communicating to the passenger. Yeah, so I had both of them down. My fault. She told me she pulled me over for failure to stop at the stop line, and she wanted my license and my registration, which is something I want to get into too. I gave her my registration, but I think we talked a little on the phone too. that my license was in my door, and you know, off to their discretion, they pull you over, but they want you to speed things up. So, to her discretion, couldn't find it in the door. I was looking in my wallet for it, so I offered to pull it up on my phone, and
like a picture of your license on the phone.
Yeah, on the phone. So I wasn't looking all over the car.
You were trying to look for the license. You couldn't find it immediately,
right?
And you knew that you immediately had it on your phone.
Honestly, I know ignorance of the law isn't an excuse, but
I know, yeah.
No, you know, it's not.
Well, you were trying to. If I understand you correctly, you were trying to speed things up. You knew the picture was on your phone. You didn't know where it was in the car.
Right.
Here as it is on the phone.
Right.
Which you're trying to make quick.
She told me it was fine. She didn't need to see that. She just needed my name and my birth date, which I gave her, and from there she went back to her vehicle, spent a couple minutes, and then she came. I believe she waited for the next officer to pull up, and they pulled up in front of me. Right, I gave her my registration, and then she took down my name and my birth date, and she went back. And then, she came up to the passenger side when the next officer pulled up. She waited for the next officer pulled up. And then she indicated that there was, the odor of marijuana.
The odor of marijuana,
yeah,
okay.
And it's kind of foggy. I think I don't know, the next thing in my brain happening, she ended up on the driver's side, which is why I wish I had the body camera, but.
And you were out of the car at this point, right?
No, I wasn't. I was still in the vehicle.
Okay, you were still in the vehicle. So at what point they told you that they smelled marijuana in the vehicle? So that was it wasn't alcohol, it was the odor of marijuana that they said that they had smelled. So then, I presume, what next, they order you out of the vehicle?
She asked me to do, she didn't order me out of the vehicle.
She asked you to get out of the vehicle?
She asked me to get out of the vehicle, which I didn't know. I didn't have to consent.
Well, I think they call that a lawful order, but yeah, you got out of the vehicle.
Yeah, I got out of the vehicle, and she just wanted to have a little talk with me. And then, so we get to the curb. She takes me to the sidewalk, and then tells me that we're gonna do a field sobriety test, and from there we did that.
So you did a field sobriety test then?
Yes sir.
Okay.
We did. She stuck her finger in my face. She made me walk the line, and then she made me hold my head back and count to 30. And from that, the last test, the 30 test. After that, she said, all right, you're gonna go ahead, turn around, and you're under arrest for driving under the influence. And from there, she just stuck me in the back of the vehicle. They searched me before they stuck me in the back of the vehicle and took me down to the station, booked me.
So you did the field. So I just want to get it all in chronological order. No, you're good. It's perfect. So you did the field sobriety test. Presumably, they didn't think that you did that well on it. I mean, it's probable cause to arrest you anyway. I mean, you don't have to do them. But she had said she had smelled marijuana. So after you did the field sobriety test, it was directly after that she arrested you, and she said that you were under the influence for driving, you were being arrested for driving under the influence of marijuana. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
And then she arrested you, she put you in the back of the car, took you down to the Frederick County Adult Detention Center.
The male officer arrested me, and then he stuck me in the back of her car, and then she drove me and booked me. Right.
Presumably it was the male, because he was the one who has to pat you down, and that's how they usually do it. So when you get down to the Frederick County Adult Detention Center, you were booked, right? They processed you.
Actually, I didn't go to Marcy's Choice.
You didn't go to Marcy's Choice?
No, I went.
Where did you go?
She took me to the substation up there in the courthouse. So I went through exit 2 and went to their police headquarters. You
went to city. I know you went to the city branch.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you went. You went right up there by the courthouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you went. 100 West Patrick Street is where you went. Okay. So you got processed there.
Yeah.
And did you have to like post bail or anything like that, or did they just let you out?
Nah, they didn't take my license or anything. So
they gave you a summons, though, I imagine.
They gave me the court summons. They gave me
the charging documents, or
I guess that's.
Was this everything they gave you right here?
These 4 pieces of paper, and then I just received the interlock summon, my advice of rights, notification to defendant of BAC test results, and then my Maryland uniform citation summons.
Okay, so You've talked about the incident, right? Mm-hmm. Again, 2 officers, right?
Yes,
and I'll just sort of recap it. You were on December 29th. Mm-hmm. You were heading to your mother's. You were going to go to your mother's for the day. You got pulled over. The reason for the traffic stop was they said that you had ran a traffic stop. You had ran a stop sign, essentially. And when they pulled you over, she came to the passenger side. Windows were down. She said that she detected the odor of marijuana. You showed her a picture of your license, and you gave her your name and your birth date.
See, that's the thing. I didn't even show her the picture of the license.
Oh, you didn't even see it. You gave her the name and the birth date.
Which is why that charge is so ridiculous.
Right. And then the backup came, and then therefore you were ordered out of the vehicle. You did the field sobriety. They thought that you were under the influence. Right. And that was the probable cause to take you in. That's the incident right there. So pretty straightforward, right? Pretty straightforward stuff. You know, that's what you just described to me is a pretty standard DUI arrest, right? So here comes the big question, right? This is the big picture right here. At the time you were arrested, when they put those handcuffs on you, were you in any way drunk or high or under the influence of any substance?
I had just woken up from a nap like 10 minutes earlier, which is the whole ridiculous thing about it. So now I was completely sober.
So you were completely sober?
Completely sober, 100%.
100% sober?
100% sober.
Was there marijuana in the car?
I did have my medicine with me, but as I've told you,
so that might be why she was smelling it.
I also indicated to the officer that I had it with me, but I told her I had less than a 3.5 grams of marijuana in the car, and but I'm legally allowed to possess that and carry that with me on my person because of my medical license.
And I just want to state for the record that we're here in the state of Maryland, and as of summer 2023, marijuana was legalized. So, I mean,
it's like you got a cigarette in the ashtray. So
exactly right. It's exactly right. I just want to state that for the record. So, your claim, you're putting it out there. You were arrested. You should not have been arrested because you were completely sober.
Right, and
can you say that with certainty, 100%?
100%, and
not even like a little bit hungover from the night before or anything like that.
Nah, anybody who smokes marijuana knows that it's not like alcohol. I'm not gonna sit here and defend.
You're right. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know, and all that other stuff, but
it's generally temporary. You're gonna wake up the next morning.
Well, I don't want to sit here and look like a pothead or anything, or incriminate myself. But
it's legal. It's legal. I mean, it's this point. It's legal.
And I use it for medicinal purposes. But when you've consumed it, as long as someone like me, it's nothing. I can stand there in front of the judge. And anyway, but Nah, 100%. Nah, I was dead sober, which is
dead sober. So they charged you with it's a drug DUI, is what it is, right?
I have 2 different drug DUIs. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So here's my question: at what point do they give you the body camera and the evidence that they're going to take to trial, that they're going to present to a judge or jury, that's going to be substantial evidence to actually convict you of this? Because you said you did a breathalyzer at the station, right? And you blew a 0-0. Is that true?
Right. And my whole thing is there was no probable cause to pull me at. The odor of marijuana is not probable cause for anything. And
you're right. Probable cause, right?
There was no probable cause to give me that lawful order to step out of the vehicle.
Well, what it sounds like where they busted you is you did the field sobriety test, which gave them probable cause.
Well, and I didn't know I could go to the hospital and which is why I'm not understanding why the police department is even offering field sobriety tests when required by Maryland's only a urine or blood test. Those are the only two things required.
You didn't have to submit to the field sobriety. I'm confident that if I would have submitted to the field sobriety test on December 26th, just 3 days before, I'm confident they would have arrested me too, but I wouldn't do it.
And that's why I'm like...
But I was a fool, right? Because I let them search me, right? And I let my confidence get in the way of things. And you can't do that, right, with police. I'm learning myself too here. So it sounds like what they got you on was the fact that you submitted to the field sobriety. They thought you did an unsuccessful performance on it, and that's what they used as probable cause to arrest you. Now, I think when it comes time for a jury trial or a judge trial, or whatever it is, I think there's going to be a whole lot more that needs to be proven than, he did an unsuccessful field sobriety, because that's not a hard medical examination of anything.
Well, and just the fact that I have my medical licensing, it's like they didn't search my vehicle, they didn't search my person, they did search my person, but only my phone was on my person. But there's no evidence. There's no evidence except that I failed a field sobriety test, and I could even go the medical route. I have medical conditions that I will never pass a field sobriety test ever, just because of my mobility issues. Well,
the funny thing about field sobriety tests is they always say it's not pass or fail. They're looking for signs of impairment. But the only way you can tell signs of impairment is if it's an alcohol breathalyzer, or if it's drugs, you would have to go the medical route of getting blood from the body and undergoing a medical examination of the blood.
And that's part of my defense as well, is the body cameras will show that I was not sluggish in my speech, I wasn't stuttering, my eyes weren't bloodshot, I wasn't drowsy, I wasn't going all over the place, I wasn't stumbling, I'm very much sober, very sober person. I mean, the whole thing is ridiculous to me. This is a complete loss of everything. I mean, I will lose my job, I'll lose my car, I'll lose my ability to provide rent and utilities for my household. I'll lose the ability to feed myself. And that's another thing too, is I'm also recovering from malpractice. I was falsely diagnosed with a syncopal, some fake disease. They gave me some fake disease where I faint constantly. And the doctor submitted that to the MVA, and my license was restricted based on medical stuff. That I'm recovering from that from like 2 years. So I just got my truck 2 months ago. Just back on my feet from not having anything for a year and a half. And like, so for me personally, like as an innocent man, like if I was driving drunk and if I was driving dumb, stoned or shit, I would understand, and that's where like I'm guilty.
Right.
This is why I'm sitting here, is like I'm innocent, and the state wants to take my life away.
Right.
Because of, I don't know, the officer's misjudgment.
Well, Jay, here's what I want to tell you. The story that you just described to me is heartbreaking, right? And just 3 days before could have been me.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But...
Well, could you imagine... I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I've been speaking to a lawyer, Mr. Patrick Hannafin, who is a Maryland DUI lawyer. And he's been telling me that the marijuana DUI rates are actually up because the courts are pressing for people to be arrested for marijuana DUIs. And I was just thinking, after I seen your video, and I was just sitting there like, man, I couldn't imagine the aunties and just the normal everyday people like myself who who are getting 12 points on their license because
Right. Oh, and I'll get back to what I was saying.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. That was, that's helpful insight right there. Here's the good news. They watch this channel. They do. Oh, they do. Make no doubt about it. And they watch a few other people in this county, or, well, the guy's technically not from Frederick, but he's a Hagerstown local. That's what we'll call him. So we have their ear a little bit. And they better turn up some evidence that you were, hold a minute, they better turn up some evidence that you were driving impaired that day. Because I'm not gonna let this go, and I'm gonna follow it to the end. And there better be some evidence, I'll look in the camera, to the state attorney's office, to the city police, to all you people who are about to prosecute this case and move forward on this, you better come with some evidence, because we are on this matter and we're not going anywhere. You had better be more committed than we are, because I am very committed. If he's guilty, he's guilty, but I suspect not. There better be some evidence of that, and not a bunch of, well, you know, field sobriety nonsense. So the good news for you, Mr. J, is that we are on this case now.
Appreciate that.
And I tell you what, we're gonna follow it, and you, the story you just told me, I have every reason to believe it. Hell, it happened to me 3 days before it happened to you. I'd be a fool not to give leadway to a lot of what you're saying. So we're gonna follow it, and there had better be some evidence that comes out very soon, because you cannot be convicted without evidence. And I hope you do not take any voluntary, I should say, please, when you know in your heart it's not in your best interest.
And that's like, even if they offer me a plea, I'm playing not.
You are entitled right now to discovery, and we hope you get it. You are entitled to all that. Body camera, police reports, you're entitled to it.
Still looking for the...
And we hope that you get it.
Probable cause affidavit.
And remember, you have the right to a jury trial, you have the right to a bench trial, you have the right to an attorney. Maybe try out public defender, whatever it is, whatever you gotta do. You know, it's your life in jeopardy.
Yeah.
And like you just said, and we're gonna follow it. We're gonna be in communication with multiple different offices within Frederick, and we are going to try to get some answers. But nonetheless, like I've told you, we're gonna follow it, and if they try to pull anything dirty, I'm gonna know.